The way you approach your portfolio building shoots as a portrait photographer is quite frankly pathetic, and you're wondering why you're not landing any clients. In this video, we're going to look over how I approach my portfolio building shoots and how I create photos that lands me regular clients as a portrait/fashion photographer. And we're going to use my most recent photo shoot as an example. So if you're a portrait photographer watching this video right now, you don't take your portfolio building shoots seriously enough. Like, you think because it's a free passion shoot, then like, why should I put much effort into it? And you're wondering why you're not landing any clients. Because no matter what position your portrait photography business is in right now, your portfolio building shoots are going to be the sole reason or the main reason why you land clients in the first place. So we need to learn about how we can perfect these shoots. Okay, so how am I able to create my best work yet? Well, I like to do genius shoots. Genius shoots are where you plan, budget, and source a team for your photo shoots. And by the way, the knowledge that I'm going to give out in this video is only a small fraction of what I offer in my portfolio mastery course, which is top link below. This will give you the most detailed step-by-step guide to building up a profitable portrait photography business. And what we're going to cover right now with genius shoots, that's covered in like over an hour in the course. And obviously in this video, we're going to break it down to like 20 minutes. So if you're interested in that, just click the top link below to check it out. Okay, so let's first look over the planning section of your photo shoots. So this is how I plan my photo shoots. So I like to create like a treatment or a mood board like PDF for the shoot. So first things first, start off with a title. I like to call it Urban Mirage because I like to have like a theme and concept for the photo shoot, if that makes any sense. So first thing I like to start off with, obviously got the title, and then I like to go off like a description. I kind of describe the photo shoot a little bit, put like urban streetwear, dreamlike surrealism, etc. Putting a little text to kind of like just contextualize the photo shoot, understand what the vibe is, like describing what I'm going for essentially. So first things first, I'm going to start by dividing off each section of the photo shoot that I want to cover and what I want to look over, and put it into this presentation. I like to cover the most important aspects first. So in this case, it's going to be the set design because it was like a painted backdrop. It's going to be like the main like vibe of the shoot, the main subject of the shoot. So I wanted to have this first, and yeah. So we have like this little like, here's some like mood board, like here's like some reference photos of like what the set design should be of like the backdrop. So I put like a cool horizon, something like out of a dream in a way. Like the colors are kind of like kind of abstract, doesn't really look real. Like these photos, I think they're like, I don't know if they are paintings or whatever, but they don't really look like, obviously you can see it's like a horizon, like the ocean, stuff like that, but it's like not super, it's not really realistic, if that makes any sense. And I put like handcrafted / painted. Next up, the styling. So I like to put, okay, what's the styling going to be? Because I'm going to have a stylist for this photo shoot. So I was like, okay, I need to put in what the styling is going to be. So here are some reference photos of what I want to go for. Urban streetwear, something like this maybe, baggy jeans, iconic sneakers like Adidas Sambas, colorful, whatever it is. Styling 2, so a second outfit could be something like a crop top with some baggy jeans, add some layers like hats, flannels, etc. Next up, I'll put the jewelry. Here's some jewelry I want to do, which is kind of similar to the styling. And then I go on to the lighting. I put like soft but high contrasty lighting with harsh highlights for drama. But you can see how it's quite detailed. Like, I'm not just putting in like a general mood board for the photo shoot. Like, actually, it's hiding behind here. I didn't actually put it in there. But like the mood board behind this image here, I didn't just put that in there, but I'll put like extra stuff in there. I'll put like, I want to specifically tell people what is the styling, because you can imagine if I'm sending this off to a team, because I work with a team, Genius Shoots, sourcing a team is the last thing we're going to cover. When I have a team, I can make a bias, a stylist, we have a production designer for this shoot too. When you have these people on the project and they're working on it, they need to see what you're going for. You can't just tell them, oh, I want to go for a photo shoot with a painted backdrop. Like, no, you need to actually tell them, give them like a specific thing and visualize it, give them a specific idea and tell them exactly what you want. And that puts them in that position where they can work with you in a much better way, and they can work at their best. So like, if because of the styling and because I put like the reference photos for the styling of what I want to go for and visualizing it, being like, I want this specific look, the stylist can look at that and be like, okay, I like this, I can kind of go off this and I can kind of do my own thing as well. So they can work at their best too. But you can imagine if I'm just telling the stylist, oh, can you just be the stylist for this shoot, and then like not really telling them what I'm going for, it's like, what can they really do with that? And they might like provide something that you don't really like, and then now you think the stylist is a bad stylist, but it's nothing to do with like their skills, it's just your poor communications. And you might even say right now, oh, sure, I'm going to send them the photos anyway, I'll send them reference photos anyway. Exactly, you're gonna send it to them regardless, so you might as well put it in a presentation so you don't have to worry about that. That's another thing too, like you don't have to, you're minimizing your communication between everyone. Like that's what you want. You don't want to have to constantly be messaging back and forth with what you want, because you're just wasting so much time doing that, and it's like effort, and it's just stressful because you need to make sure everyone's on the same page. But like when you send something like this, send it to them in the group chat, send it to them individually, whatever. You might say one or two things that you want to go for. Can we go for something like this or whatever? But for the most part, you kind of just like sending them the PDF and then kind of leaving it at that. And then now they kind of know exactly what you're going for and exactly what you want. Like for stylists, for example, when I work with stylists too, I barely have to communicate with them. I just like send them this, and I do like one or two messages maybe being like, oh, maybe it goes for something like this, maybe. They send over like a specific outfit, see if you approve, and that is it. That's all that goes into it. For the most part, it's basically zero communication because I do all this, right? And it's just good for them because now that I kind of know what to go off. If I just told them this is the color palette or whatever, that's what can they go for that? But if I'm telling them, like if I sent them this like general mood board, if I just delete this, that's the mood board here. If I just sent them this mood board, it's like, you can't really, what can you go off this really with like what the outfit's going to be or what everything's going to be? You can't really go off that. So you have to go into individual things, being like, I want this type of jewelry, I want this specific type of styling. For the production designer, it's like, I want this specific set design, etc. The lighting is more there for yourself, so you know exactly what the lighting is going to be. We're going to break down the lighting later on in the video, by the way, but yeah, like I don't put the lighting in there mainly for you, but also for them too, so they kind of understand what the vibe is of the photo shoot, what look that you're going to go for, etc. And now, after you've done that, you want to move on to a shot list. And by the way, when you're covering stuff like this, you don't have to specifically cover only these things that I mentioned, but you can cover extra stuff too, like makeup, the location, the maybe the color palette, even props, accessories, etc. But basically everything that you feel like is really important to the shoot, put that in there, because yeah, make sure everyone is on the same page. It's just easy, you know what I mean? And then now we move on to a shot list. So this is extremely important if you don't really know how to pose your models very well on the day. You need some guidance of that. This is going to be really good for that. Also for the model's sake too, they can like, if they kind of struggle with poses, they can kind of go off this as well, because you can imagine you can have this shot list next to you on the photo shoot while you're taking the photos, and you can kind of refer to it, point at a pose, do that, do this, etc. So full shots. So these are just a bunch of reference photos of what we could go for, different types of poses. Like if we start off with full shots first, because it's like a shot list is almost like a checklist too, so you can kind of go from like full shots and then mid shots and close-ups and like other shots, etc. So starting off with full shots, here are some examples that you could do, and everyone does this. I've assisted really big fashion photographers in the past for quite big shoots, and they do this exact thing. Maybe it might not look exactly like this, but they have like a mood board or a collage of like all these different types of poses and shot ideas, etc. Because again, putting it next to you, pointing to that, do like that, especially if you're on a time crunch too. You can think of poses as on the spot, constantly, boom, this pose, that pose, boom, 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 and it's a great time. So full shots, then we go on to mid and close-up shots. So here are some examples of like mid close-up shots that we could get, even types of like the composition, even the, again, it's not just the poses that you're looking at also like, maybe it's the angle or like the lens choice that you may use or whatever it is, so you're putting that in there. And then we do on the floor shots. So here's some examples of on the floor shots that you could get, like poses that you can do on the floor, and then that's it. And I've just put a section for like who I am, the photographer who's working on it and the stylist who's working on it too, by the way. stylists and stuff like that, linked below if you want to check out their work too. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, doesn't really matter. Because I'm not just telling you to create something like this just for the sake of creating it, just for the sake of like being creative and fun. Like, no, I'm telling you to create something like this. No, it's not just useless homework like you used to get as like a student at school, but I'm telling you to make this because it's going to help with the process of your shoots. And you can also imagine it's going to make you look so much more professional. Like, imagine you send this PDF off to like a group chat or to a team of people for a portfolio building shoot. They're going to be like, yo, this is sick. This is so professional. Like, I've even had that before where like I've messaged a model or a stylist or whatever with this presentation. They're like, oh, this is super professional. This is, like, seems really cool. I would love to work on this. And it's also great too if you're trying to work with a team, you're trying to source a team for completely free, and especially if they're strangers that you never worked with before, you need to convince them to want to work with you. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, let's collab and that is it, because they need to have a reason to want to work with you. They're going to work with you for completely free. They need to have a good reason to want to work with you. So if you don't have like, this is like your reason, this is like your proposal, your pitch to them, and if they like the concept, they'll gladly work with you for completely free. And by the way, if you want to learn even more about networking tips and how you can source teams for completely free for all of your photo shoots, just click the link below my program. I'll tell you exactly how to do that. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this too is because your style as a photographer is like one of the most important things to landing clients. Like, you can take technically good photos, that's completely fine, but if you don't have like a unique style about your photography, it's not going to help you. You're not going to be like, you're not actually going to be that special, and like, why would someone want to hire you if you're not really different to other photographers who will charge less? You know what I mean? So one way is like to be able to have a unique style as a portrait photographer, and your style consists of everything. Your style isn't just like your color palette or like your color grading and your lighting, but it's everything. It's your styling, it's your color palette, obviously your lighting and color grading, but it's also the types of models that you use, the locations, the set design. Like for me, I like to shoot against backdrops, and that's my thing. At studio shoots against like colorful backdrops or like black or white, like that's my thing, right? And that's exactly what I did for this photo shoot. I kind of stick to that with like the painted backdrop. Like obviously I switched up a little bit with the painted backdrop. Usually I go for like paper backdrops, but yeah, it's still kind of sticking to the vibe of colourful backdrops. Obviously I like to go for streetwear, urban, that type of thing, so I stick to that too. So if your style consists of everything in the frame, that means you have to keep into consideration everything in the frame. And if you want to keep it as consistent as possible, your style as consistent, as intentional as possible, you need to make sure you're actually, for each photo shoot, you're making sure the styling is consistent, the types of models that you use are consistent, the location, etc. And that is the best way to do so, is by creating a presentation. Because I would argue that style is literally, having a consistent style is actually more important than creating technically good photos. Like, I know photographers out there, I've worked with photographers out there, right, that in my opinion, their work isn't even like that good technically. Like, it's not even like that crazy. If you look at their work, I'm not gonna say any names or anything like that, right, but if you look at their work, you wouldn't even think that they were like highly booked or like getting booked for all these big shoots and brands. You just think like they're starting out or something like that. But because their style is quite consistent, because their style is very consistent and it's somewhat technically good, clients love that. They don't really care that much if you take amazing photos, because if your style is all over the place, and it's like they don't really want to hire you, because it's risky. Like, if you think about it, put yourself in the client's shoes. If you see a photographer that has all these different types of shooting, why would someone want to hire someone like that? Why would you want to hire someone like that? You want to hire someone with a consistent style, so when they're more predictable. So when you hire them, it's like you know exactly what you're going to get out of them. And I noticed in my journey too, as I got more niche and I got more consistent with my style, I was like kind of discovering what I like as a photographer, I was landing more clients. And the reason why I say this, and I know it's true, is because I noticed it in my business. I noticed that like once my style was becoming more consistent and I was kind of niching down and like understanding what I liked and what I disliked, I started to land more clients. So they were both very correlated. Like, as my portfolio got more niche and got more specific, I started to land more and more clients. And I literally go on meetings with clients that tell me they want my creative style. That's one of the main things they say. Oh, we love your creative style. We love your type of photography style and what you do. Oh, we want to hire you for this specific shoot. What do you think? What's your rates? Or whatever it is. Like, basically all the emails that I get from like paying clients always mention my style. They always mention, oh, we love your style of shooting. We want to get something similar for our shoot. They're not just simply hiring me because I'm good at lighting or because I take technically good photos, but they're hiring me for a specific style, for a specific look. So if you want to do the same, if you want to get hired by those type of clients, you need to do genius shoots. You need to plan your photo shoots. You need to really take into consideration everything in your frame to make something consistent. Because again, your style isn't just your lighting and your color grading, but it's everything. So make sure you are making sure everything is consistent. So next up, budgeting the photo shoot. So what that means, just putting money towards the shoot, actually funding your photo shoots, because a lot of people don't do that. They think like, oh, I buy a bunch of expensive gear, then I get all the clients coming through and I make amazing work. But like, matter of fact, it doesn't really work like that. Like I used to think that I buy all these expensive gear, thinking like, now I'm gonna start making amazing photos, when it's like, no. Like I start taking a little bit better photos now because like the lenses are sharper and there's more bokeh or whatever, but my photos didn't really get that much better because I wasn't really doing a lot of these portfolio building shoots, and I wasn't really budgeting those photo shoots either. One of the main things I would suggest you fund in your photo shoots is your styling, because your styling is probably one of the most important things that is most neglected in your photos. Like you'd be surprised like how much styling can just go so far. Like if your outfit is shit, then the photos are probably going to turn out shit. But because if the outfit is really cool and it's just a thought out outfit and it's like it fits the color palette and the theme or whatever, it will turn out so much better. Also too, if you also buy clothes from a certain clothing brand like Adidas or Nike or whatever brand it is, having logos in there makes it look more official. For this photo shoot we had like Adidas trousers, and having that logo in there just makes my photo shoot look so much more official, like it was like an actual shoot for Adidas or for ASOS or for H&M or whatever it is. Another thing that we bought, obviously the paint, because we had a production designer for the photo shoot that we're going to paint the backdrop and create it. Obviously we bought paint for that. Paint isn't free, of course. We obviously got the studio. Luckily we got the studio for completely free. You know, we have some connections. We know people that we can get these studios for completely free. Obviously also the panels in there. They had the panels in there to paint on the canvases. So that was also free, but for the most part, you're going to pay for that, obviously. That's only like, for the most part, I usually do pay for my own studios. This studio in particular, I didn't have to pay for it, but for the most part I do. But you can see how just putting a small amount of money towards your shoot is going to instantly just elevate your work to another level and make it look so much more professional. Like I shouldn't be able to differentiate your portfolio building shoots, like your personal projects, to your paid shoots with clients. Like there shouldn't be much of a difference there. You should be able to put as much like effort and money into it as you would the client shoots. Now, you know, obviously it doesn't have to be like hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but like even a small amount, like $100, maybe $200 or something like that, maybe even less than that, that is all you need. If you look at my photo shoots, for example, you look at the BTS too, you wouldn't even be able to tell which ones were the portfolio building shoots and which ones were the client shoots. Like that's what you want, because I put the same amount of effort into both of them. That is why you're creating not very good work, because like you think because it's a personal shoot and it's like a free shoot, that means you don't put much effort into it. You just maybe you make a mood board or something like that, but you just book a shoot with a model and just organize something and then do it. Like that is why you're not creating good photos. It's not because of your gear, it's not because of even your technical skills, it's because you're not keeping into consideration your pre-production phase, your planning, your budgeting the photo shoot, etc. And if you want to learn the full process into how you can create your best work yet that will land you those high paying clients, again, like I mentioned earlier, click the top link below, which is my program, get the in-depth guide to creating your best work yet as a portrait photographer. You will learn how you can land those high paying clients, how I'm able to create my best work yet. Basically, a section, there's a small section in that course covers everything that we're covering in this video, but in much more detail, in like over an hour long. In this, it's like 20 minutes, but in that one, yeah, over an hour long. So there's a lot more that we can go through. You could be a complete beginner who's never landed a client before in the past. You could be someone who's more intermediate, where you've landed a few clients before, made a few $100 or something like that. Maybe you make pretty good photos but don't really know how to make it your full-time career. You could also be someone who's more advanced in a different genre. Maybe you used to do weddings or like concert photography or whatever it is, but then you want to make that transition into portrait photography, doesn't matter. No matter what position that you're in, as long as you want to make money as a portrait photographer or fashion photographer or whatever, they're basically the same thing, this program is going to be perfect for you. And you're bound to make the money that you invested into the program back from like a single photo shoot. So yeah, click the top link below if you want to check that out. And yeah, I want to see you inside because there's already people in there that are making serious progress. Okay, so now I want to mention sourcing a team for your photo shoots. Sourcing a team is going to make your life 10 times easier on sets. Like, Jesus Christ, when you have a team, you're essentially dividing your responsibility of the photo shoot to different people. So now, when you have a stylist on the photo shoot, for example, you don't have to worry about styling anymore. You don't have to worry about getting the outfit ready or anything like that. The stylist can worry about that, and the model can worry about that. Same with the makeup. You don't have to worry about the makeup now. You've got a makeup artist on the shoot too. It's amazing time. Also for me, I also like to have assistants on my photo shoots, so having like people helping me out, like setting up lights, setting up any camera equipment, and it just speeds up the process basically. Another great thing too, I actually mentioned this quite a lot, and there's like a module in my course which goes over exactly how you can like create a comfortable environment for the model. And one of the things I say in there is like having small talk, creating a vibe, getting to know them. Like creating that personal connection between you and the model. But sometimes in the reality, when you're on a photo shoot which is quite like high stress and you've got a lot of stuff to do, sometimes it's quite hard to do that. So when you have a team that is helping you out, other people there, like other company, it's like they can just do that. You know what I mean? You don't feel like you have to do that. You don't feel like you have to be the one having to do all the talking and the conversations or whatever, carrying the entire thing while you're trying to set up or like trying to think about your own thing. Like for me on that photo shoot, there was like 10 of us on the photo shoot at some point. Some people were visiting and stuff like that. But there was like 8 or 10 of us on the photo shoot. And there was a makeup artist, stylist, etc. And I didn't feel like I had to just talk to the model the entire time and like getting to know them and like whatever it is and creating that connection. I could get away with just kind of sitting in a corner for a little bit and kind of just like thinking about what I'm going to do, my game plan, thinking about, okay, what is the lighting going to be, or like not the lighting, but like maybe what is adjusting the lighting or something like that. Maybe it's, okay, what pose am I going to do first, etc. I'm thinking about like my side of the photo shoot rather than having to like constantly talk to the model or whatever. There was times where I was like, okay, go over to the model, talk to the model, the makeup artist, the stylist, asking like, oh, how's it going? How's life? Whatever, having a little small talk there. Then going to my other friends, like my assistants, talking to them, being like, how's it going? Is the lighting good? What sort of stuff, whatever. And like, they're all in their own bubble and their own conversations, and I don't feel like I have to carry the entire social environment of the shoot. I kind of just like do my thing and kind of sit back, because compared to, if let's say it's just you and the model, maybe if it's just you and the model, it's like you have to talk the entire time. You have to set up, concentrate on what you want to do and lock in on what you want to get, while also having small talk with the model. It's like, that's very difficult to do, but if you have like a team with you, they can do that. Like I work with a stylist, I work with the same stylist for most of my shoots, and she's amazing. She's great. We're quite good friends. We've been doing this for a couple of months together. We've been working for a couple of months, and she's like a really good person. Like she's really kind and she's funny. So like you can imagine she's vibing with the model, right, throughout the photo shoot when she's getting the styling done and everything like that. I don't have to worry about that. She's basically doing my job in terms of like creating a comfortable environment for the model. The model's gonna getting into their own world, or getting into their vibe and coming out of their shell. Like on this shoot in particular too, she was just like, the model was just very, I mean, you can tell there's a kind of a part of her personality, being someone's very extroverted and that type of stuff, but you can tell that like the stylist kind of brought that out of her a little bit, you know what I mean? Because the stylist made her feel welcome and made her feel like loved on the photo shoot essentially. So if you want to source a team for your next photo shoot, I would suggest start with a makeup artist first and then go on to a stylist in the future. Maybe do like a makeup artist. If you want to start with just one extra person, do a makeup artist, and maybe for the next shoot you want to have a stylist, or maybe you want to have a makeup artist and a stylist. Just like something like that will be perfect. I would say like don't try to source a massive team just for the sake of sourcing a massive team, because I told you a big team is great. Like, because the issue with doing that is like this, like organizing a photo shoot is going to be much more difficult and much more stressful when there's like a lot of people involved. Like if you have like 8 people on your shoot involved, it's like that's going to be a lot of people. That's a lot of availabilities and schedules and calendars that you have to work around, which can be very difficult. You know what I mean? Including the studio and whatever it is, but luckily for this photo shoot, it was very easy for me. It was actually kind of lucky that we was all free on this one day, like a couple of weeks from then, and it was amazing, right? But for the most part, it can be very difficult to get a very specific date, especially if you're working with a massive team. So if you want to save yourself some stress, I would say just getting like up to 3 people, extra people. So it's you and the model, and then like a makeup artist, a stylist, an assistant or something like that. But yeah, it's just an amazing vibe when you have like a bunch of like-minded people within the industry working with you, and you can make friends. You can like obviously potentially create more connections for the future, because you can imagine if you're doing a photo shoot and every time you're doing like a portfolio building shoot, it's a networking opportunity for you, right? If you're doing a shoot where it's just you and the model, you're creating one connection every time. But if you're working with 5 different people, you're creating those 5 different connections on every shoot. You're literally over, like you're 5 timesing the networking rate, if that makes any sense. It would also teach you just how to be social as a photographer, because if you're watching this video right now, you're probably a more like introverted photographer. You're probably someone who's more shy, maybe someone who's more reserved. I used to be like that a lot when I first started doing photography. So this is a great way to kind of get out of your shell and to learn about how you can communicate with people, learn about what it's like to work with a team on your shoots. And yeah, it's a great time. And by the way, if you want more in-depth networking tips on how you can source teams for completely free, how you can create a comfortable environment for your model and for everyone else on set so they can work at their best, like I mentioned earlier, my program, which is top link below, will help you exactly with that. These are the methods that I like to use to just like help everyone perform at their best and make sure you get the best photos possible, because it isn't just about you as a photographer. It isn't just about you, how good you are at photography, but it's also making sure the model is doing good, the styling is good, the makeup is good, etc. You also just want to be able to have like a good time on set. You want to have like a good experience as a portrait photographer, so you can keep going and making serious progress, eventually landing those clients regularly. So yeah, click the top link below if you're interested in that. Okay, so let's look over the lighting, because I want to discuss more the pre-production phase again, but planning your lighting is like so important, because the last thing you want is on your photo shoots is like struggling with what lighting that you want to do. You don't really know what lighting setup to go for, because that is going to waste a lot of time. So I save a lot of time setting up, because I know exactly what lighting setup that I want to go for beforehand. And this is exactly how I plan my lighting. So I'm on this app called Setalight. I'll link it below, you can check it out. It's basically like a 3D simulation of your lighting, essentially. You can kind of have a studio space, you can put your own lighting modifiers or whatever it is and create a lighting setup essentially, and put a model in the middle, etc. You can obviously mess around with the settings and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool little app. So yeah, this is how I plan it. So here's the little light setup. So we've got free light lighting setup. First light, I had this ARRI L10C, and on the day I didn't think I had this on there, but I just had that there. It was actually just one of like, I had a small rig 220 watt cob light. Like this is a standard cob light, but it's the same thing as this basically. The same in terms of like power, it's basically the same thing. So I had this through a scrim. Like a scrim is like a massive like frame, like diffusion frame. This is really good. It's like a massive soft light source basically. Really good for like, it makes like a massive softbox essentially. Great for super soft lighting. It's also really good too if you're trying to do like more fashion-based shoots. You're lighting the entire model with that massive light source, because the bigger the light source, the bigger the spread of the light. So obviously you want to have a quite big spread when it comes to lighting the entire model, instead of trying to have like multiple lights doing that. So having that one big light source is great to have. I have that. I had it on a more like a 45-degree angle, slightly to the side a little bit. You can see it's not like fully centered like that. It's onto the side a little bit, because then you can create those shadows that you see on her face there to create like Rembrandt lighting or whatever it is, just to create that contrast essentially. Then I've got this another cob light in the background here as a rim light. I actually had this as the ARRI L10C, so that should be the other way around. But I had an ARRI L10C on like a 45-degree angle behind the model. I was like a rim light, because I like to do rim lights. You see my work, I do rim lights for basically all of my photo shoots. It's like my signature look. I love that like lighting texture and that lighting like technique. I love it so much. I do it on every single photo shoot that I do. And it's like a nice outline, basically, kind of like creating more contrast. I have it on me right now, actually. You can see I have like a rim light on me. I have a light up there. You can see I have like a rim light on my face and an outline on my body. I do that for my photos as well. And lastly, I had this strip box. I had an Amaran F21C, which is basically, they don't have this on this app, so I use this light box. Basically the same thing in terms of like the shape of it. And I had that with a grid on it and stuff like that. I had it as I had a gel on it. I had like a red gel on it because I wanted to try something different. I wanted to try something new with like gel lighting and like that sort of thing, rather than just going for basic tungsten or white lights. Then I also had this poly board here as like negative fill, just to make sure you're keeping those shadows in there, you're controlling the light a little bit more. But yeah, very simple lighting setup in my opinion. But you can see how your lighting, again, it is also a part of your style, but the way you can kind of like, I've still kind of like switched it up a little bit while keeping my style consistent. As you can see, everything's basically the same with the rim lights and the lighting, but I've just got a little bit of red accent lighting there just to kind of create something new, create some pizzazz to the photos, if that makes any sense. And yeah, it's great. And by the way, if you want to learn even more about studio lighting, if you're a photographer that lights in a studio and you're still kind of struggling with studio lighting and how you can light your model, by the way, again, like my program, which is top link below, there's a course in there called the Studio Lighting course that will tell you exactly everything that I know about studio lighting, soft lighting, hard lighting, what lighting to use for different types of looks. It goes into lighting techniques, everything like that. So yeah, that's like a great source of knowledge to go to if you want to learn about studio lighting in more detail. But yeah, that's really it for the breakdown. I hope you found this useful, and like if you want to learn about how you can make money with your creativity as a portrait photographer, again, top link below, my photography program. I'm sick of these photographers that tell you that you can't make money from your creativity, because you can. I'm living proof of that. You can do that, and I want to teach you exactly how I did it. And yeah, I don't want you to be like making money from your portrait photography. It's just boring corporate headshots, but I want you to start by creating like editorial type of work, get hired by clients that also want that style of shooting and will pay you a lot more. By the way, you can charge a lot more for these types of shoots because you're having a unique style about you, like everything like that. And obviously I teach that all in the program. There's already students in there that are making serious progress. They're already landing clients with and landing jobs with clients that will give them that creative input. It's a great time. So after this video, I don't want you to ever listen to a photographer again that tells you that you can't make money from your creativity, and they're like, oh, I had my creative phase and it didn't really work out. It's because you don't know how to approach your portfolio to make your creativity profitable. And again, I will teach that in more detail in the program, which is top link below. So yeah, check it out. I want to see you inside the program. You'll make your money back tenfold easily to what you invest in the program. But yeah, that's it for the video though. Thank you for watching. Hope you found this breakdown useful. Click on this video right here to learn more about portrait photography, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.